Hello everybody, hope everybody's doing well. This video is picking up on Ezekiel, uh, chapters 22, 3, and 4, about 3 pages. And I think starts off another communication of the Lord, or vision, Lord speaking to Ezekiel. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, will you judge her? Will you judge this city of bloodshed? Then confront her with all detestable practices and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. You city that brings on herself doom by shedding blood in her midst, and defiles herself by making idols, you have become guilty because of the blood you have shed, and have become defiled by the idols you have made. Sounds like many cities and nations today. You have brought your days to a close, and the end of your years is come. Therefore I will make you an object of scorn to the nations, and a laughingstock to all the countries. Sounds like the U.S. is right now. Those who are near and those who are far away will mock you, infamous city, full of turmoil. See how each of the princes of Israel who are in you uses his power to shed blood. In you they have treated father and mother with contempt. In you they have oppressed the foreigner and mistreated the fatherless and the widow. It sounds a lot like the United States. You have despised my holy things and desecrated my Sabbaths. In you are slanderers who are bent on shedding blood. In you are those who eat at the mountain shrines and commit lewd acts. In you are those who dishonor their father's bed. In you are those who violate women during their period, when they are ceremonially unclean. That's what they've considered and still considered in the Orthodox faith. In you one man commits a detestable offense with his neighbor's wife, another shamefully defiles his daughter-in-law, another violates his sister, his own father's daughter. And you are people who accept bribes to shed blood, you take interest and make a profit from the poor. Again, that's usury. Every bank is goes against God's laws. Do not loan money for profit. Against God's laws. So what's it tell you about banks and where they're going to end up? You extort unjust gain from your neighbors, and you have forgotten me, declares the sovereign Lord. You're going to see that banks exhibit that more and more now with COVID-19 here in this country, and probably in other countries too, where people can't afford to keep paying their mortgages, their rents, so it's going to be eviction rates going to go up, foreclosure is going to go up, bankruptcy is going to go up. And here we in this country bailed out the banks in 2008-9 with taxpayer money, and they refused to pay it back, so they got penalized, and they refused to pay that. They went to court and got it all dismissed. So they never paid us back. So they owe everybody money. Yet they're going to foreclose people and kick them out, and the homeless rate in this country is going to skyrocket. Very possible. This government does something. So, but then the banks control the government. So we'll see what happens there. But it shows you how evil banks are and bankers. I will surely strike my hands together at the unjust gain you have made, and at the blood you have shed in your midst. Will your courage endure, or your hands be strong in the day I deal with you? I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will do it. I will disperse you among the nations and scatter you through the countries, and I will put an end to your uncleanness. When you have been defiled in the eyes of nations, you will know that I am the Lord. Then the word of the Lord came to me again. Son of man, the people of Israel have become dross to me. All of them are the copper, tin, iron, and lead left inside a furnace. They are but the dross of silver. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Because you have all become dross, I will gather you into Jerusalem. As silver, copper, iron, lead, and tin are gathered into a furnace to be melted with a fiery blast, so will I gather you in my anger, my wrath, and put you inside the city and melt you. Because all his people have turned from God, and the evil one, you're going to be like a crucible, a worldwide crucible, or crucibles around the world, ground up to nothing. So again, don't feel bad for the people who are passing now. They're being harvested. Some being going judgment, but their time is up. So again, pray for the people that are stuck. Pray for the people that don't believe. Pray for the people that are evil. They're clueless. They have no idea what's going to hit them upside the head. I will gather you, and I will blow on you with my fiery wrath, and you will be melted inside her. As silver is melted in the furnace, so you will be melted inside her. You will know that I, the Lord, have poured out my wrath on you. Again the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, say to the land, you are a land that has not been cleansed or rained on in the day of wrath. There is a conspiracy of her princes within her, like a roaring lion tearing its prey. They devour people, take treasures and precious things, make many widows within her. That's all the rich and powerful. Again, in the banks, and the super wealthy, and the not the super wealthy. They're just constantly taking. They never have enough. They're never satisfied. I have hardly anything, and I'm very content. Her priests do violence to my law, and profane my holy things, which they do. They do not distinguish between the holy and the common. They teach that there is no difference between unclean and the clean, and they shut their eyes to the keeping of my Sabbaths, so that I am profaned among them. That's what they do. Church leaders, evangelists, priests, and false prophets, and popes, and all these religious leaders, church leaders of all faiths. They're so corrupt. Like in this country, they just partly got bailed out by COVID-19 relief packages. They had no business getting money. They had no business getting money. Prophets whitewash these deeds. Her officials within her are like wolves tearing their prey. They shed blood and kill people to make unjust gain. Metaphorically speaking, they do just this. It's all stuff that goes on now. The prophets whitewash these deeds for them by false visions and lying divinations. They say, this is what the Lord, sovereign Lord, says, when the Lord has not spoken to them. People of the land practice extortion, they commit robbery, they oppress the poor and needy, mistreat the foreigner, denying them justice. It all sounds so familiar to us, doesn't it? I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it, but I found no one. So I will pour out my wrath on them and consume them with my fiery anger, bringing down on their own heads all they have done, declares the sovereign Lord. Chapter 23. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, there are two women, daughters of the same mother. They became prostitutes in Egypt, engaging in prostitution from their youth. In that land their breasts were fondled, and their virgin bosoms caressed. The older was named Ohala, and her sister was Oholibah. Excuse me. They were mine and gave birth to sons and daughters. Ohala is Samaria, and Oholibah is Jerusalem. Again, it's symbolic. Ohala engaged in prostitution while she was still mine. She lusted after her lovers, the Assyrians, warriors clothed in blue, governors and commanders, all of them handsome young men and mounted horsemen. She gave herself as a prostitute to all the elite of the Assyrians and defiled herself with all the idols of everyone she lusted after. She did not give up the prostitution she began in Egypt, when during her youth men slept with her, caressed her virgin bosom, and poured out their lust on her. Again, speaking metaphorically, talking about Samaria and people of Samaria. Therefore I delivered her into the hands of her lovers, the Assyrians, for whom she lusted. They stripped her naked, took away her sons and daughters, her people, and killed her with the sword. She became a byword among women. Punishment was inflicted on her. Her sister Oholibah saw this, yet in her lust and prostitution she was more depraved than her sister. She too lusted after the Assyrians, governors and commanders, warriors in full dress, mounted horsemen, all handsome young men. I saw that she too defiled herself. Both of them went the same way. But she carried her prostitution still further. She saw men portrayed on a wall, figures of Chaldeans portrayed in red, with belts around their waists and flowing turbans on their heads. All of them looked like Babylonian chariot officers, natives of Chaldea. As soon as she saw them, she lusted after them and sent messengers to them in Chaldea. Then the Babylonians came to her, to the bed of love, and in their lust they defiled her. After she had been defiled by them, she turned away from them in disgust. When she carried on her prostitution openly and exposed her naked body, I turned away from her in disgust, just as I turned away from her sister. It's speaking of different countries that prostitute themselves to other countries, whether it's to us, whether it's to Russia, whether it's to China, whether it's to somebody else. People are always prostituting themselves as a nation, as a peoples, as an individual person, human being. All prostitute themselves. Prostitution is not just selling your body, having sex for money. Prostitution is doing something, giving of yourself, with the expectation of a return, some form, for something else. Prostitution is selling yourself in any way, shape, or form to get ahead. How many people prostitute themselves in work, in their jobs, their careers, to get ahead? How many people prostitute themselves to get richer and wealthier? It's not just sleeping with somebody sexually. It speaks of lusting and doing the same thing with Egypt as well. So you long for the lewdness of your youth, when in Egypt your bosom was caressed and your young breast fondled. So again, speaking these two towns, Jerusalem and Samaria, two parts of Israel. Therefore, O Halabah, this is what the sovereign Lord says: I will stir up your lovers against you, those you turned away from in disgust, and I will bring them against you from every side. Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, the men of Pekod and Shoa and Koa, and all the Assyrians with them, handsome young men, all of them governors and commanders, chariot officers, and men of high rank, all mounted on horses. They will come against you with weapons, chariots, and wagons, and with a throng of people. They will take up positions against you on every side with large and small shields and with helmets. I will turn you over to them for punishment, and they will punish you according to their standards. I will direct my jealous anger against you, and they will deal with you in fury. They will cut off your noses and your ears, and those of you who are left will fall by the sword. They will take away your sons and daughters, and those of you who are left will be consumed by fire. They will also strip you of your clothes and take your fine jewelry. So I will put a stop to the lewdness and prostitution you began in Egypt. You will not look on those things with longing or remember Egypt any more. This is what the sovereign Lord says. See this going on in the U.S., in America today. See it going on in other countries. They drift and turn from God. It's all about self. No care for other people. There seems to be more and more people out there in the world and in this land, this country, that behaving that way. Just with all this going on with the COVID-19, see people's true colors coming out. Who's worthy and who's unworthy. This is what the sovereign Lord says: I'm about to deliver you into the hands of those who you hate, to those you turned away from in disgust. They will deal with you in hatred and take away everything you have worked for. This happened in the United States? Could very well. It's happened to some people in this country and other countries around the world. They will deal with you in hatred and take away everything you have worked for. They will leave you stark naked, and the shame of your prostitution will be exposed. Your lewdness and promiscuity have brought this on you, because you lusted after the nations and defiled yourself with their idols. You have gone the way of your sister, so I will put her cup into your hand. This is what the sovereign Lord says: you'll drink your sister's cup, a cup large and deep. It'll bring scorn and derision, for it holds so much. You'll be filled with drunkenness and sorrow, the cup of ruin and desolation, the cup of your sister Samaria. You'll drink it and drain it dry and chew on its pieces, and you'll tear your breast. I have spoken, declares the sovereign Lord. Again, all this stuff, prophets, sounds pertain to things back then, metaphorically and directly, that pertain to our history, and especially now during this phase of Revelations. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says: since you have forgotten me and turned your back on me, you must bear the consequences of your lewdness and prostitution. The Lord said to me, Son of man, will you judge Ohala and Oholibah? Then confront them with their detestable practice, for they have committed adultery and blood is on their hands. They committed adultery with their idols. They even sacrificed their children whom they bore to me as food for them. They have also done this to me. At that same time they defiled my sanctuary and desecrated my Sabbath, which mankind does all the time, in the churches and Sabbath, and with their insincerity in the churches. On the very day they sacrificed their children to the idols, they entered my sanctuary and desecrated it. That is what they did in my house. And nothing's hidden from him. Nothing is hidden from him. Nothing you think, say, do, or feel is hidden from him. He knows it beforehand. He even sent messengers from men who came from far away, and when they arrived, you bathed yourself for them, applied eye makeup, and put on your jewelry. You sat on an elegant couch, and with a table spread before it, on which you had placed the incense and olive oil that belonged to me. Always pandering. Nations pander to the other nations. Politicians pander to the people. None of them are worthy. None of them are worthy of God. by any way, shape, or form. They're so far off track. Pray for them. It says to obey your masters, and obey your leaders. But if they're not worthy of God, they're not worthy of that respect and that obedience, then we should not be following them. They will lead you off the wrong direction and lead you off the cliff. Save themselves. The noise of a carefree crowd was around her. Drunkards were brought from the desert along with men from the rabble. They put bracelets on the wrists of the woman and her sister and beautiful crowns on their heads. Then I said about the one worn out by adultery, now let them use her as a prostitute, for that is all she is. And they slept with her, as men sleep with a prostitute. So they slept with those lewd women, Ohala and Ohalaba. Again, it's not actual people, an actual sexual acts going on. It's prostitution of their country and their people. But righteous judges will sentence them to the punishment of women who commit adultery and shed blood, because they are adulterous and blood is on their hands. This is what the sovereign Lord says. Bring a mob against them and give them over to terror and plunder. The mob will stone them and cut them down with their swords. It will kill their sons and daughters and burn down their houses. So I will put an end to lewdness in the land, that all women may take warning and not imitate you. You will suffer the penalty for your lewdness and bear the consequences of your sins of idolatry. Then you will know that I am the sovereign Lord. So he's going to set everything right. It's going on. See a lot of this stuff going on. So things are going to change. I see so many people out there, like here in Las Vegas, in this country, just for various reasons, bad leaders, indecisiveness, selfish people, especially in this country, like the ones that don't want to do what they're supposed to be doing. It's a free country. They can do whatever they want. They don't want to wear masks. They don't want to social distance. Don't want to stay home and quarantine. Free country. There's no such thing as a free country. It's because it's labeled a free country doesn't mean everything is free. You can do whatever you want. There are laws. There are ordinances. There are statutes. For everything that you have a right to do, somebody else has a right to not have you do it around them. You have a right to smoke. I have a right to breathe that fresh air too. I have a right not to have to smell that smoke. But no, all those people that profess that are selfish. And they're heading for a very good end. These ones that don't want to wear a mask. Says, oh, it's illegal to wear a mask. We don't have to wear masks. It's unconstitutional to wear a mask. We don't have to wear one. No. Think about other people. They have a right to not get sick, potentially from you not wearing a mask. To grow in God's love, you need to put God first. In so doing, it makes you selfless. Put everybody else first, too. Again, the priorities are God 1, family 2, community 3, self 4 at the bottom. If you want to put self number 1, that ain't going to work. They're going to pay a heavy price. Chapter 24, in the 9th year, in the 10th month, on the 10th day, the word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, record this date, this very date, because the king of Babylon has laid siege to Jerusalem this very day. Tell this rebellious people a parable and say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Put on the cooking pot, put it on and pour water into it. Put into it pieces of meat, all the choice pieces, the leg and the shoulder. Fill it with the best of these bones. Take the pick of the flock. Pile wood beneath it for the bones. Bring it to a boil and cook the bones in it. For this is what the sovereign Lord says. Woe to the city of bloodshed, to the pot now encrusted, whose deposit will not go away. Take the meat out piece by piece in whatever order it comes. For the blood she shed is in her midst. She poured it on the bare rock. She did not pour it on the ground, where the dust would cover it. To stir up wrath and take revenge, I put her blood on the bare rock so that it would not be covered. So in other words, get everything in order, do what you need to be doing, follow him, because he's going to expose things for what they are. He's going to expose people for who they truly are. Nothing will remain hidden, because nothing's hidden from him. When that exactly be, will be boom. I hope an experience for everybody or gradual, that I do not know. Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says: Woe to the city of bloodshed! I too will pile the wood high. So heap on the wood and kindle the fire. Cook the meat well, mixing in the spices, let the bones be charred. Then set the empty pot on the coals till it becomes hot and its copper glows, so that its impurities may be melted away and its deposit burned away. In other words, he's going to stir everything up, collect more and more souls, and the impurities be melted, and they shall be burned away, taken away into the fires of hell. And hopefully they'll repent of their ways at the very end, before it's too late. It has frustrated all efforts. Its heavy deposit has not been removed, not even by fire. That's true for some people. Even by purifying fires, they will not repent. Now your impurity is lewdness, because I tried to cleanse you, but you would not be cleansed from your impurity. You will not be clean again until my wrath against you has subsided. Some may still resist, refuse to follow the Lord, refuse to repent. I, the Lord, have spoken. Time has come for me to act. I will not hold back. I will not have pity, nor will I relent. You will be judged according to your conduct and your actions, declares the sovereign Lord. And just like with the flood, He's given mankind so many chances. We've turned against Him. We've denied Him. We've rejected Him time and time again through mankind's history. Just like with the flood, people cry out, and He's like, talk to the hand. He won't reply. His back will be turned. So the word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, with one blow I am about to take away from you the delight of your eyes. Yet do not lament or weep or shed any tears. Groan quietly, do not mourn for the dead. Keep your turban fastened and your sandals on your feet. Do not cover your mustache and beard, or eat the customary food of mourners. So I spoke to the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. The next morning I did as I had been commanded. Even after his wife had passed away. That's dedication. So I spoke to the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. The next morning I did as I was being commanded. Then people asked me, won't you tell us what these things have to do with us? Why are you acting like this? He's spoken quite clearly, and they still not get it. People don't. Things are spelled out to them directly from the Lord or using other people, and they still don't understand it because they're deaf, dumb, and blind. So focus on the things of this world and on themselves. They're unable to discern. So I said to them, the word of the Lord came to me, saying to the people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says: I am about to desecrate my sanctuary, the stronghold in which you take pride, the delight of your eyes, the object of your affection. The sons and daughters you left behind will fall by the sword, and you will do as I have done. You will not cover your mustache and beard, or eat the customary food of mourners. You will keep your turbans on your heads and your sandals on your feet. You will not mourn or weep, but will waste away because of your sins and groan among yourselves. Ezekiel will be a sign to you. You will do just as he has done. When this happens, you will know that I am the sovereign Lord. And you, son of man, on the day I take away the stronghold, their glory, joy and glory, the light of their eyes, their heart's desire, their sons and daughters as well, on that day a fugitive will come to tell you the news. At that time your mouth will be opened, you will speak with him, you will no longer be silent. So you will be a sign to them. They will know that I am the Lord. We'll pick up with chapter 25 next time. So again, word of the Lord. These prophecies are dual in nature, time-wise. Present back then, and the future, which is our present. Excuse me. So don't take them lightly. They pertain exactly. I mean, somebody in another country may read that or listen to this and think it pertains to their country. I can see the similarities to this country, what's going on in this country. So all nations will fall, as we were told. So expect that to happen. Gradual process, all at once. I don't know for sure. I mean, God knows everything in a full plan. So I just can't stipulate enough emphasize enough the need to focus on Him, put Him first. He will take care of you in these hard times and beyond. Put Him first. Look to help others as you can, even if it's just verbal, emotional support, and help them, lifting them up. That's helping them. God understands it can be dangerous to go out there. He doesn't want you to be foolish. People, you go to the churches and whatnot, they say, oh, God will protect me. He doesn't want you to give your brain. He doesn't want you to misuse it, take it for granted. Use your brain. Use the intellect He gave you. Common sense. The intuition. Intuition is a gift that gives everybody. We should be using, paying attention to. Use good sense. So everybody just stay safe. Wear a mask. Social distance. Get tested as you can. Quarantine. And put your faith in God. That's what we're supposed to do. Peace of Christ. God bless.